India is a land of incomparable and diverse culture. If we dig deep into the realms of Indian history, we will find that there have been a number of freedom fighters whose names we have forgotten in the course of time. It is our duty to pay homage to them as their efforts must be recognized and remembered. Our students will now take part in an enactment cum tableau, which will shed light on the unsung heroes whose contribution paved the way to our independence.
The state of Tamil Nadu has many freedom fighters, and they played major roles in the Indian independence movement. Tirupur Kumaran is such an unsung warrior who struggled for the freedom of India and gave his life for freedom. He involved himself in the freedom struggle right from his young age. He started the Deshbandhu Youth Association by grouping the youths from Tamil Nadu to struggle against the British government to get freedom. Inspired by Gandhiji, he conducted protest marches against the British government. When Gandhiji led a demonstration in Bombay in 1932, the British decided to lock the leader. There were riots and protest marches with people carrying out the national flag, which was banned at the time. One of the protesters was Tirupur Kumaran holding the flag. When lathi charges were made, Kumaran did not let the flag touch the ground in spite of the assault. He succumbed to death and was later found on the streets, still clutching the Indian flag, preserving its dignity even in death. A martyr, Tirupur Kumaran, is remembered in Tamil Nadu by the epithet Kodikatha Kumaran, the Kumaran who saved the flag.
13th April 1919, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, the dark day that witnessed the demonic face of the British Raj. A large crowd, including the non-violent protesters and the Baisakhi pilgrims, gathered for a meeting over the arrest of 3 leaders. The British troops led by General Dyer began instant firing on the crowd until thousands were killed and several seriously injured. In fact, many of them, out of desperation to save themselves, jumped into the nearby well. This is a known chapter in Indian history. What is less known is the presence of a young boy at a distance who was helplessly watching his people scumbling to death while trying his best to help the victims. This, indeed, planted the seeds of revolution in the mind of this young boy named Udham Singh, whose only goal in life was to avenge the Britishers for such an inhuman act. Sardar Udham Singh, with a firm determination and unwavering spirit, set out to educate himself. and equip himself with the finance needed to pursue his goal. When he had acquired enough to reach London and place himself in a position where he could reach his enemy, he made his way to the General Assembly. He shot Michael Dwyer for publicly supporting the Britishers for their cruelty in Jallianwala, thus avenging the loss of his people back in Amritsar, and surrendered himself so that there could be many more Udham Singhs following his example of success against the Britishers. His famous statement heralded the upsurge of revolution back in India. The contribution and sacrifice of this legendary revolutionary calls for a tribute on this day that witnessed the independent India 75 years ago. It was the unceasing efforts of such heroes that we are able to proudly reside in the independent India.
Surya Sen was a school teacher by profession and was popularly known as Masterda. Apart from imparting knowledge, he also instilled in his students love and loyalty for their nation. In 1918, he was elected as the president of the Indian National Congress, Chittagong branch. He recruited a group of young and passionate revolutionaries known as the Chittagong Group. Sen led this group of revolutionaries on 18th April 1930 to raid the armory of police and auxiliary forces. The plan was elaborate. It included the destruction of the communication system of the city by disabling telephone, telegram, and railway lines, thereby isolating Chittagong from the rest of the British Raj. Following this, they had to seize the arms from the armory. They captured the police armory. But could not locate the ammunition. Before escaping the scene, all the revolutionaries gathered outside the police armory, hoisted the national flag, took a military salute, and concluded their endeavor with shouts of Bande Mataram and Inqilab Zindabad. The success banner raised by these passionate individuals through this revolutionary step aroused the spirit of fearlessness in the hearts of many Indians.
It is with great pride and joy that we breathe the air of freedom today, which is the result of the collective efforts of our revered freedom fighters. While commemorating our national heroes, we often forget some people who played a major role in the freedom struggle of India. Thus, picking up from where we left, here come the students of class 5, dressed up as some of our unsung warriors. Let's see how many of them you can recognize just by the first look as I read about them. First off, we have Matongini Hajra, a martyr from Bengal, who is affectionately known as Gandhi Buri. This revolutionary fought selflessly for her nation until she was shot dead by the Tomluk police on 29 September 1942. Here comes the fearless folk hero, Birsa Munda, who spearheaded the Munda rebellion in the Bengal presidency in the late 19th century, thus making himself an important figure in the history of Indian independence movement.
End the kingdom of the queen and create a kingdom.
Peer Ali Khan was an Indian revolutionary and rebel who played a leading role in the Great Revolt of 1857.
You may hang me and many like me every day, but thousands will rise in my place and your object will never be gained.
When it comes to one's love for their motherland, age is just never a factor. Here comes the youngest freedom fighter of India, who became a martyr at the young age of 12 for the cause of his nation's freedom, Shahid Baji Raut.
It is our freedom fire.
Here comes the revolutionary leader of the Jugantar party, Jatindranath Mukherjee, with his great contributions to India's independence. A snippet of his valor lies in his epithet, Bagha Jatin, which he earned by fighting with and killing a Royal Bengal tiger using a dagger all alone.
We shall die to awaken our nation.
A third of the radical freedom fighter trio, Lal Bal Pal, Bipin Chandra Pal, who is fondly remembered as the Bengal Tiger, was one of the main architects of the Swadeshi movement. Beena Das was an Indian revolutionary and nationalist from West Bengal who was a member of the Chhatri Sangha, a semi-revolutionary organization for women in Kolkata. She was awarded the Padma Shri in 1960 for her social work.
আমি গভর্নর স্ট্যানলি জ্যাকসনকে আর শেষ করব।
A less-known freedom fighter, but a highly regarded saint, Shri Aurobindo Ghosh was a philosopher, poet, yoga guru, maharishi, and most importantly, an Indian nationalist.
True knowledge is not attained by thinking. It is what you are. It is what you become.
Here comes one of India's first female freedom fighters, Begum Hazrat Mahal, who played an important role in the Indian Rebellion of 1857 by being a part of the siege of Lucknow from the British under the leadership of Raja Jalal Singh.
Allahu Akbar, Har Har Mahadev.
Kalpana Datta was a member of the armed independence movement led by Surya Sen, which carried out the Chittagong Armory raid in 1930. She is the author of the book titled Chittagong Armory Raiders, Reminiscences.
The Rani of Fiction fired my imagination to join the freedom fight.
Next, we have an officer of the Indian National Army, a social worker, and one of the founding members of All India Democratic Women's Association, Lakshmi Sehgal, who was a distinguished revolutionary of the Indian independence movement.
Delhi, chalo, the fight will go on.
Aruna Asaf Ali, fondly known as the Grand Old Lady of Indian Independence, was an educator and freedom fighter who is remembered for hoisting the Indian national flag at Gowalia Tak Maidan, Bombay in 1942.
He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life.
Living in the district of Midnapur, it is not possible not to know Khudiram Bose, one of the youngest revolutionaries of India's struggle for freedom. He laid down his life for the nation only at the age of 17.
একবার বিদায় দে মা ঘুরে আসি হাসি হাসি পড়ব ফাঁসি দেখবে ভারতবাসী.
It goes without saying, Bengal played a significant role in helping India attain her freedom. Nationalists like Khudiram Bose, Prafulla Chaki, Chittaranjan Das, and others cannot go uncredited. The freedom struggle also gave rise to a new genre of music, Deshottobodhak Gan. Our singers will now present to you one such song.